Good morning to all who have joined us online here today. This is Nelson Jaffrey presenting the second of our Tri-Series webcast, Shalini James. Shalini James is the owner and lead designer of the women's wear brand Mantra. After a degree in English literature, she graduated from NIFT Chennai and then took a business management program with IIM Calcutta. Her love for fashion and a burning desire to make a change in the fashion scenario in Kerala prompted her to start Mantra, a design house and apparel brand dedicated to the traditional textiles and textile crafts of India. Shalini was the first designer from Kerala to present her collection at the prestigious Amazon India Fashion Week in New Delhi. Her label, Shalini James, is an exotic potpourri of all things Indian, in silhouettes that are sometimes ethnic, sometimes contemporary, and mostly a unique mix of both. Her signature line, Indian by Choice, espouses her design philosophy. Her label retails out of several leading multi-designer outlets in all the major cities in India. Shalini, welcome to our webcast and thank you for taking time and joining us today.
Yes, Nelson, it's a pleasure to be here. Sorry for the confusion in logging in and to keep you waiting.
Not an issue. As long as we got you on board and we are happy to present. So Shalini, without wasting any more time, let us quickly begin our conversations. To begin with, COVID-19 has changed life as we know it. How do you think, and what are your views on its impact on the fashion industry?
I think the fashion industry has been affected in a big way, primarily because ours is a non-essential product. Businesses have come to a grinding halt in these times. Not just after the lockdown, even prior to that, as soon as the coronavirus became prominent in India, which is early March onwards, businesses have been affected. So I think fashion industry is one of industries which has been hit really badly.
Okay, and due to the sudden lockdown imposition, most of the current season's clothing would not have been sold yet. Do you think the same collection could be reoffered to customers post-lockdown, or is it necessary to introduce a new collection for a new season?
See, having a lot of unsold inventory is not a small thing for a business. So we are definitely going to try and push this inventory post-lockdown. That said, in states where the climate does not have too much of a bearing on the season, like for instance in Kerala, where summer, even in December we can sell summer clothing. So in places like this should not be a big issue. I am definitely trying to sell my unsold inventory post the lockdown. But in places like where there are instances where you cannot sell summer clothing in winter. So in those cases, I think retailers have no choice but to go for a discount sale and finish off their inventory, because I don't know how much sense it will make to keep summer clothing for the next season, next year, because the warehousing costs and all the associated risks, I'm not sure if that makes sense. I think it may make sense for such retailers to finish off their stock as soon as possible, rather than keeping it for the next season next year.
Okay, and with your regular course of business being affected, what has been your learnings during these challenging times?
Quite frankly, it has been survival mode, and my greatest concern during this period was to keep, allay the fears of my employees and assure them that we are going to try and restore normalcy as much as possible. Quite early on, during the lockdown, we got a special permit to make masks. So the few of us who are in town and who are close by to my factory, we have got together and we've started making masks and we are selling them. So that has kind of given us a day-to-day semblance of normalcy, because we come to work as few of us come to work as usual and go back home. So that keeps me going, and I cannot say that I have any answers for how we will deal with all the problems post lockdown, but yes, we must take one day at a time.
Yeah, completely agree. For the past 2 months, most of us have almost been living out of our pajamas. In terms of newness in trends, we have seen a lot of new trends emerging, like work from home dressing, lounge, which is sleepwear come lounge, home style. Do you think, and does this mean that these trends will be a part of fashion even post lockdown?
Yes, I think because see, the coronavirus is not going to go away with the lockdown. It's here to stay at least for a couple of years, or at least till we find a vaccine. So a lot of companies are encouraging work from home, and this seems to be part of the new normal, which means that more people are spending their time at home in work mode or otherwise. All these hashtags are going to be a part of our fashion lexicon for a long time.
It must have been tough for you as well, having regular activities being all held up. How did you manage to keep yourself busy? I mean, if you can share some things with us.
See, one thing I try to do right throughout is stick on to a steady routine. Even days when I couldn't step out for work, when I had to be at home, I tried to maintain a routine where I, wake up at the same time, do my morning combination of yoga, meditation, prayer, and then get down to some work from home or something like that. So I think sticking on to a steady routine is the only thing that has kept me sane during this period.
Okay, and
I forcibly made sure I don't get into vacation or holiday mode.
Okay, and anything that you had not tried before that you managed to try during these lockdown times?
Nothing that I didn't try before. Yes, there is one thing that I'd like to say. See, even though e-commerce was always a part of our business, it was a minuscule part of our business. Our focus was always on brick and mortar sales. Brick and mortar sales kept us happy, and therefore, we could afford not to aggressively pursue e-commerce. Whatever happened on the side, we were happy with it. So this is one time when I really spent a lot more time looking at e-commerce seriously, because I think that is good. None of us can avoid the digital platform anymore. So yes, I have spent a lot of time understanding e-commerce and how to aggressively pursue it. So I'm hoping that will help me in the times to come.
Okay. Also, it seems people have been online a lot in these times, as you also mentioned. Surely our masses would have become more techno-savvy now. Does this mean that the fashion industry has to focus more on the online and on the virtual front than what it used to be before?
Absolutely. I don't think any of us have a choice in this matter. We have to be not just present on the digital platform. We have to, we have to reach out to our customers, and the digital platform is the best for that. I think these are times when Muhammad will not come to the mountain, then the mountain must go to Muhammad. So I think, we cannot afford to make mountains out of our business, immovable mountains where we refuse to budge from our comfort zone. We need to step out. If the customer wants us to deliver at their homes, we need to do that. If we don't do that, somebody else will snatch that opportunity from under our noses. So I think that flexibility has to be built into every business. And accessing the digital platform is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Being flexible is, what one should do in this time. Moving on, Shalini, the uncertainty around the COVID-19 pandemic has forced consumers to kind of slow down and spend more time at home, leading to a prioritization of more of comfort dressing. And as we adjust to this cocooning, what we put next to our skin becomes very important. You have handled and worked with Liva fabrics before. Do you consider this, as the preferred choice of fabric during these times?
I'd like to say that, my experience with working with Liva earlier has been very good. In fact, the last collection that we did in March, for March, this spring summer, which we did in October, the experience that my customers had was that the fabric had the look of silk and the feel of cotton, which is, I think, I don't think you can say that of any other fabric. So the comfort factor in the Liva fabric that I used in the last season was amazing, and it lent very well to the crafts that we did, the surface ornamentation that we did on it in terms of vegetable dyeing and printing. So all of that was great. So I'm hoping that post lockdown also if we can bring in collections with Liva. I think there is a big space for it in these times, because another thing is people have, like you said, have had a lot of time to introspect and analyze their own buying choices. So you will have a new wave of consciousness in these times. So in that, people are going to be very particular about what they buy, what is its environmental impact. So all of these are going to matter. So I know that Liva is made of wood pulp, and for every tree that goes into it, you plant more trees. So these are factors that customers will be happy to know when they buy this fabric and its products.
Yeah, thanks, Shalini, for sharing those. Also, we just heard from you that you have been making masks during these times of lockdown as well, which could have been more for a functional purpose, I'm sure. Do you see masks becoming a fashion statement, and are you promoting this in any way, or do you have any plans?
Yes, I have started quite early. In fact, initially we started masks not as a commercial venture, but we provided masks. This was very early on, end of March. We started making masks to supply to the police department in Kerala, which was done completely free of cost by our company. But after that, the government of Kerala got in touch with me to design masks which would make the whole concept of wearing masks more appealing. So they actually requested me to make it little more than functional and give it a designer appeal so that people would adapt to it more easily. So as part of that campaign, which was done in conjunction with the government, we promoted masks out of printed fabric, handloom fabric, and a wide range of them. That is a commercial venture. We are selling those masks through our e-commerce site as well as through other points of sale.
It's nice to know about your initiative, for the police on duty in Kerala. Also, as per a recent study that was conducted, most consumers are inclined towards more of a need-based shopping. Only for more consumers are inclined towards more of need-based shopping.
Need-based, yes.
For specific occasions. So, what impact do you think this could have on the industry? Do you think we will see a shift from the traditional spring, summer, or autumn, winter season to more festive focused fashion seasons?
I personally think so, because one, we do not know how even fashion shows are going to be conducted. It remains to be seen. So this rigid focus on spring, summer, autumn, winter may have to be, see, again, like I said, we all need to be flexible. If our customers don't have much reason to buy clothes except for occasions, then we need to frame our collections around those occasions. So I think, yes, that flexibility needs to be there depending on the location, depending on the festive occasions in that location. Designers will have to bring out their collections accordingly, other than or excluding the spring, summer, autumn, winter seasons.
What does your collection or signature line usually include? Do you do more of bridals, or it is more breadth and ready to wear every day?
I do mostly breadth. It's almost 90% breadth.
Okay, and also. There's been a lot of education about the impact of fashion on the environment, and we have a lot of social media and influencers promoting reduce, reuse, upcycle in fashion clothing, and this kind of culture being developed. Do you see this influencing fashion post COVID-19, and are consumers willing to adopt these practices?
Yes, definitely. This has been even prior to COVID. This has been, there have been a lot of movements in this regard where people have been debating the negative impact of fashion on the environment. So I think all of these factors will, be a big factor in influencing buying during this time. So people are going to be conscious about the environmental impact, about the fair trade practices in this business. So I think people in the industry will have to take all this into consideration when they go ahead, because our customers are wiser now, and they have very definite reasons for why they're buying something and why they're not buying something. So we'll have to take all that into consideration. And as for whether the entire world is going to go that way, after all this, in a couple of years, people will go back to their old ways. I'm not saying fast fashion is going to go out entirely, but earlier what used to be a small niche for sustainable fashion, for craft-based fashion, for all of that, it's going to become wider. The space is going to be wider. There are going to be more people asking for products like that.
Also, a lot of our consumers have responded saying that they won't be shopping for the next 2-3 months. So will we see a huge discount wave coming in from brands to push out existing inventory that's in stock due to this lockdown?
I fear it may be so. I say I fear it because personally, I do not want to take that route. I do not want to, come out of lockdown and immediately go on a discount sale, because my stock is not that old. It's at best, it's been unsold for 2 to 3 months. So it would be unfair to, put it all on discount. It doesn't make sense for me. So I personally do not wish to take the discount route. I would rather engage more aggressively with the customer, have a telemarketing section, have video conferencing at the store, reach out to them, facilitate buying with other measures other than discounting, and see how it goes. I'm going to wait and watch and see if that is effective enough to sell my unsold inventory, and only then decide whether I want to take the discount route. But I fear that if the market panics and everybody is going to go into that mode, then our customers will also expect us, even if we are not willing to go on discounts, customers will expect us to take that route. So that is going to be difficult to balance. Ideally, I don't want to take that route, because this is fresh spring summer stock. I do not want to, unless it's on the racks for I've given it at least 3 to 4 months to sell at full price. It doesn't make sense to sell it on discount.
Okay. With a lot of safety and healthcare being concerns, among consumers currently, do you think designers will see these influencing fashion in any way? And how does one still keep the fashion quotient, up and intact by following these or incorporating safety and healthcare routes in designer fashion?
That is a huge challenge, what you've just said, because you rightly said that safety and healthcare is going to be top priority for not just for consumers, but for us as well. Safety of our employees is absolutely important, because if you have one case in the factory, you will just have to shut down. You don't have a choice. So safety and healthcare is definitely top priority. But in all of this, how do you keep fashion alive? So it comes back to the creativity that we employ in this business, how we bring about new ideas, how we work with, since I work extensively with crafts. Most of my work is in printing and weaving, which is done outside Kerala. So again, the challenge is not just coming up with new ideas, but how I get to get all this done without actually traveling to these places. Again, a bigger challenge is most of these craftsmen, they're not very tech savvy. So the mode of working with them has always been direct. I go to the spot and get things done, or somebody from my team goes to the spot and get things done. Now all that has changed. So a lot of challenges when it comes to trying new ideas and sampling, implementing new ideas. So it is going to be a huge challenge to keep fashion alive in these times, but we'll get around to doing it.
Yes, I'm sure we will. Shalini, have you opened business as usual? Looking at Kerala, things getting to normal, and what are the changes in your regular operations at work?
See, right now we haven't opened for business. My store is in a mall. Both my stores are in malls, and we haven't opened as yet. So, which means we are not selling as of now. In Kerala, e-commerce of non-essential items has still not started, which means even through e-commerce, we can only sell masks. We cannot sell our regular merchandise. So as of now, nothing is happening. We are just making plans for business after lockdown is lifted.
Okay. Also, Shalini, did you face any challenges with migrant workers, considering most of your craftsmen do not come from, or do not belong to Kerala?
Thankfully, early March, we took a decision to send them back to their respective hometowns. So the good thing is they're all safe in their homes, and there is no risk associated with that. The sad thing is we don't know when they can come back. So my production will be halted till I know when they can come back, and unless there is a definitive improvement on the corona front, I don't think it makes sense for me to bring them back. Even after railways have resumed operations, if I were to bring them back, then again they'll have to be quarantined here for a while and all that. So we really don't know how things are going to be on that front. But yes, they are all safe in their homes, in their hometowns.
Good. It's nice to know that they are safe, and we just hope things are normalized soon, so you have your factories running. Shalini, now we'll just have a quick, rapid fire session. It's not going to be the gift hamper one, but just a few questions here. So with retail stores, shut down and inventories stuck, which marketing strategy do you recommend the most once outlets open? A, declare irresistible offers on online e-commerce platforms and don't wait for stores to open, or declare discounts in showrooms once stores open, or both will prove beneficial, or don't do anything, fashion will anyways naturally recover.
So not so maybe declare by offers. If you don't discount, yes, work on online stores and platforms, not declare discounts, definitely not the second one. Yes, but again, not the last one either, so a bit of all of that. Okay. I personally, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to take the discounted sales route immediately. I'm going to do a whole lot of other things to improve e-commerce, and then wait and watch and then see how to take things forward.
Okay. Also, what will be the impact in seasonal cycles in fashion? Will it stay the same? Will there be longer season cycles, or will we see seasonless dressing, with long-lasting wardrobes? Shalini, you went on mute, I guess, again. I think you're still on mute, yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah, okay. So you were saying, so what I was saying is, yes, timeless pieces which can outlast a season, which can, those kind of things will definitely be in vogue. I don't think, trends which are short-lived, which will last only a season, I think all that will change for a while.
Okay, and have you planned any new ways of marketing your collections, through digital now, since fashion weeks are not going to be there for some time? Is there anything new that you have planned, which was not there earlier?
Nothing new, but yes, again, aggressively pursue this method of photo shoots, taking photo shoots in a simpler way, developing e-catalogs which can be shared with, stores outside Kerala. So all of that will have to be done.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Shalini, and wish you the very best for your future work as well. And we hope things get normalized soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. On this note, we will end this session. Thank you so much.